What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DST show. The Sideline Productions Podcast live here in my basement. Doesn't make it sound better, but we got to deal with it. Other than that, we're going to be going over some topics. Of course, today's topic is Shannon Sharpe leaving Fox, leaving Undisputed, leaving Shannon Sharpe, the better duo in sports media over the past several years, is finally concluding the Mets in the hot streak with the rest of the AL East. We got the NBA Finals starting up tonight here later in prime time setting. The Denver Nuggets will be at home matching up against Red Hot Miami Heat after concluding their series in a show-out performance in a Game 7 game against the Boston Celtics after a revenge game when they were the first seed. Coming out this time, they were the underdog 8th seed that shut out the Milwaukee Bucks. Shut out in a close 6-game series against the New York Knicks. And after a 3-0 start, a three straight game comeback over the Boston Celtics, closing out over a 21-point deficit, destroying the Boston Celtics' opportunity to make it back to the NBA Finals since losing to the Golden State Warriors in 6 games. So right now, there's a lot of stuff going on over in sports media. Also, I haven't neglected what's going on over in the Stanley Cup. We still got a lot of NFL offseason with a lot of ODM's practice. We got summer camp ahead of us. We're only 3 months away from 2.5 months away from football season about to start. Closer if you guys pay attention to college sports. Shannon Sharpe has reportedly left. It is ceasing to conclude his partnership over with Fox after a recent buyout agreement after the NBA Finals coming around June, including his Club Shay Shay podcast that he issues that will also be concluding around the same time as Undisputed over friction with Skip Bayless I thought it was over the comments he had over saying that Tom Brady was better than him, disrespecting and denouncing his Hall of Fame ring over Tom Brady's terrible play against the Dallas Cowboys. That was also a big thing that ended in a verbal dispute and nearly a fight that happened over Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe also left after tasteless tweets over Damar Hamlin that had a terrible collapse over in Week 17 closeout game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Shannon Sharpe didn't show up that same the night after the playoff game that was Monday Night Football with Skip Bayless that was more concerned with literally the outcome over the playoff implications involving the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals than the grown man's health. No doubt the NFL has considered postponing the rest of the game. How this is late in the season, a game that of this magnitude is crucial for to the regular season outcome. Like, who just says that live on air? I mean, who just tweets that publicly over a man that literally collapsed and possibly was in stabilized breathing? Thank God Damar Hamlin was able to live for the rest of the game after being immediately rushed over to the hospital or local medical facilities if you're a professional wrestling fan. So, yeah. Not really big to say here. I'm going to say over most of the sports media that I've been struggling to even consume over the past several years, I'd rather watch Undisputed than First Take, in my opinion, all because I just feel like there's more authentic banter between at least an athlete and an analyst, and you're getting both the fan and athletic perspective when it comes to the experience. And Shannon Sharpe is just more fun of it, more fun of a personality that Skip Bayless can go over. I feel like sometimes he takes sports a bit too seriously with his childless having ass, crippled, decrepit, tales from the crypt if he owned a barn looking ass. You know what? It's okay. That's what he gets for being a Cowboys fan. That's already struggle enough. The Dallas Cowboys are failures, and so is Skip Bayless. Undisputed leaving out over Fox Network, a big premiere over already, a big sports network over on FS1 like Undisputed is going to be missed, I guess, for somewhat fans that are trying to keep up over big sports media, even though it's not really that hard to keep up over on sports to begin with, unless you have a very, very, very busy schedule. You can keep over highlights. There's apps, websites, results that already can pop up over in your phone and notify you over the results unless you really like the old school recap. After a closeout performance by the New York Yankees around the 31st of May, after a 10-run to 2 shutout against the New York Yankees, the Yankees winning 4 straight after beating the San Diego Padres, winning 2 straight road games over shutout performances, over home runs, massive RBIs. Aaron Boone getting kicked out of 3 times out of the last 4 games, except Scott Servais that got kicked out of the ball. I think the last ball game against the Yankees. I think one of the toughest matchups the Yankees are going to have all season will be their 3-game series that's going to end around the June 2nd to June 4th against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Luis Severino, this is a team with 34 wins. I'm not messing with the Dodgers, bro. We have to deal with Will Smith that was hitting the ball. Max Muncy that was hitting the ball. David Peralta. Don't you dare think I haven't forgot about Freddie Freeman in their shutout performances they've had over their past 5. They have depth over in the wazoo. Shelby Miller, Briel, Victor Gonzalez. They had a grand slam and closed out. And don't forget, I'm paying attention over in the Astros. And they just came out of a shutout performance, I think, in their last home game that I witnessed over in the highlights. They played exceedingly well over their last series they had against the Washington Nationals that they just can't beat fairly. So don't get it twisted. The Dodgers are still one of the better teams in baseball. You do not mess with them. Good depth around their hitting rotation. Kershaw can still get it done and open over the next 4. He's been winning 6 of his last 4. Dustin May has been okay, but he's hurt. He's out for 60 days. And so is Julio Urias. So they got to rely on either Don Gonson, Michael Grove, that pitched a decent game, even though his ERA is at 8.4, and he's pretty mid. And so is Evan Phillips. So it's possibly Kershaw that literally has the best win percentage still, and he's at the ripe age of 35. And then you got Noah Syndergaard that has not been above 500 since getting signed. And my man has literally come out of the has-been rotation he had to deal with after spending what? He in Milwaukee? No, he was on the Phillies last season. So he was ring chasing after my man was on the Angels rotation. And this was all in the same year. And this is after one All-Star year over in the 2016 Mets season. And he's been downhill ever since, guys. It's pretty sad to see Syndergaard go down this role of being a perennial all-star. He hasn't had a decent season since 2019. So that's practically bringing over the depth over the Dodgers last couple games, even though they've still been pretty exceptional as of late, knowing the rotation. Knowing Yancy Almonte, Mookie Betts, Michael Bush, Dylan Corver, they have several guys. Victor Gonzalez can also get it done whenever he can, bro. There is massive guys that can close out, especially around the early beginnings. Dodgers can get it done. I just hope when we see Yankees actually play off against real competition, they can actually show their actual depth, because Nestor Cortez pitched a very well done game. I think he had at least 6 Ks over that performance until he closed out around, I think, the bottom of the eighth. So I'm not taking anything away from our pitching rotation. Sometimes when we're on, we are completely on. And when the hitters are on, Aaron Judge will sometimes get a big 3 RBI, or he'll get struck out at least once or twice in a game, and that cannot be exceptional. So I have a lot of high expectations coming out of this 3-game series after the Dodgers just destroyed the Nationals. And this makes them win 4 of their last 5 since their loss against the Tampa Bay Rays over an extra inning shutout game, 11-10. And just back and forth over Gosselin, Beeks, Miller. I don't think they opened over with Kershaw for the last couple games since May 10th. So I think they're very confident over their pitching rotation. They've been a very exceptional team. So I'm very excited to see. So I'll be able to at least see one of their games. I do want to see a Dodgers and Yankees game around this week. I want to get Game 1 predictions out the way for the Miami Heat. Of course, you know me as an avid supporter of the Miami Heat. And of course, we got the Denver Nuggets have been the most overshadowed first seed in NBA history of recent memory. And I know both teams are not marketable knowing their name value, even though Nikola Jokic is a 2-time league MVP. The Miami Heat were number 1 seed last season for the Eastern Conference. Had majority of the rotation be late round or at least undrafted free agents that showed out, like Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, that really wasn't a star-studded product. Only first-round options were Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. And recently getting some buyouts over some contracts around the middle of the season was Kevin Love. We got washed Victor Oladipo that's out with an injury. And we've been doing this, and we've been taking out top-seeded teams while suffering injuries like Victor Oladipo and Tyler Hero out from injury. And, of course, Gabe Vincent still suffering. But I think he'll be still playing over for Game 1. And the Nuggets, they have not gotten a weak spot. After a 5-game series shutout against the Denver Nuggets, and finished over a 6-game series where just lack of arsenal and depth coming from the Phoenix Suns, the Lakers were fighting. They were just not inept and not balanced enough to at least know how to stop Jokic. And I watched Shizzle Adonis video that he has. Of course, I know he's a Heat fan, so he's very concerned to how to stop Nikola Jokic, or at least stop the system of the Nuggets, is to try to disrupt the passing from Nikola Jokic. Try to stop him from getting the assists, try to be more restrictive over scoring. And the reason why both teams made the playoffs was not because of the sheer talent. Even though we know Nikola Jokic is a beast, Jamal Murray has been an insane show out this postseason. Michael Porter Jr. has been such a playmaking spot-up shooter. They evade around a system that gets everybody involved. Whenever somebody makes a play, they got to make it whenever they move out the ball. Aaron Gordon will shoot the 3 when he needs to, but he can finish around the rim, cut out over the basket whenever Jokic is around the top of the key so they can play make, and he can see overhead. It is insane to make guys like Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Braun, and Murray just level up. It's like you're in the zone from Kuroko no Basket, if anybody ever watched that show. Just that one person just gives a more of a level to the rotation needed over on that team. So, big ups on the Denver Nuggets. They deserve to make it to the NBA Finals. I wish it was another team in the Eastern Conference. If it wasn't the Miami Heat, that I would be more positive. The Heat, they've been underestimated this entire postseason. The overconfident Milwaukee Bucks, and they would just excuse it over one player when Drew Holiday was a massive of the secondary unit over Chris Middleton's injury, and as well as Defensive Player of the Year candidate out of Brook Lopez. They had a lack of depth, they barely hustled, and they were just getting overshot by one of the lowest scoring offenses in the NBA. The Miami Heat were not a high-octane offense. They were more controlled and a slower pace, and they were more focused on defense than they were at actually trying to score over the ball. And when they did, they kept it. Hell, they outshot over the Knicks. That were more of the closeted favorites coming out of the series, knowing that the Knicks were a 5th seed after upsetting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then I had the Cavaliers losing that series against the Knicks. And then we had the Boston Celtics, bro. The most fraudulent team out of the Eastern Conference. That I just feel off sheer talent alone was why fans even had them. Joe Mazzulla had no system in place. They could barely patrol over ball movements. They had to go over trial and error and just over hot streaks alone. Why they even made it this far over in the conference finals, or else it would have been them. Or else it would have been the Sixers if they know how to get their head out of their ass. So, I'm just conflicted. Of course, a lot of people are concerned what's going to happen to Jaylen Brown over the offseason, over his max contract deal, or else he's going to walk and see what he can do with another team on his back, like possibly the Miami Heat. The Phoenix Suns could be an option. The Portland Trail Blazers. I know the Celtics have been trying, and a lot of fans want to see Damian Lillard put up some Celtics colors so that he can finally contend, knowing that he's still, in a productive age. So, and he's been really vocal this postseason. Most of the time, he's been reacting to what's been going on over the postseason. So that should tell you something, that he's been paying attention to possibly future candidates to get his services. Or he's just been that caring about basketball for some apparent reason. Be like, blood can shoot blood out the ball, cuz. What the I would love Damian Lillard to at least finally try to get out of his comfort zone. Know, Portland has no interest in trying to build over at least a contendership, or at least try to change over the culture, knowing that they're trying to build a lot younger with Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons. I feel like they should let go of him and Josip Nurkic, to at least build something out of the young team after getting rid of his secondary scorer out of CJ McCollum. Is building over an exciting young unit over with the New Orleans Pelicans when Zion Williamson's on Weight Watchers. But I feel like it's the best option for Damian Lillard to leave. I do feel like Nuggets just have more of an opportune time, knowing like they have less injuries over their belt. They're more well rested. They probably have been well scouting the rotation for the Miami Heat. So I would see the Nuggets closing out and winning Game 1 to open over the series, especially knowing they still have the home court advantage to open the first 2 games. And that rest does play over a factor when both teams were both favored to blow out both teams, but then the Celtics won 3 straight after Game 4 and the Heat forgot to play basketball. And I think it's going to be a difficulty to spread over the ball movement, because there was 8 turnovers over Jaylen Brown just off poor ball control and terrible playmaking. So try to catch a steal, try to disrupt the passing from Jokic, because we know Bam is a great defender, but there's barely that much of size that we can get with Cody Zeller and Bam that can play much of a factor. So if we can get Nikola Jokic dropping around at least 25 points, 5 assists, and at least 8 rebounds, I'd be okay with that, because it's lessening his production when he's been all around averaging a triple-double majority of the series over this entire postseason. And Jimmy Butler has to get highly productive. He's been underwhelming over shooting the ball, but his playmaking, attacking over the rim, and utilizing around the foul trouble has been his bread and butter. And knowing that there's only been a handful of undersized players around the ball, because it's possibly Jamal Murray that's going to be guarding him. Michael Porter Jr. is possibly going to get a hand on trying to stop him attacking around the paint. And just try to play make, because we know he's going to kick out either Duncan Robinson, Vincent, or Strus, or Love around top of the key. I see them playing possibly Love a lot more than they will Zeller, because Zeller is possibly going to play more minutes around the second half. So having Love there, they just extend the floor, get some warm-up shots in. I feel like that's what they're going to be doing. Love is going to be playing or early over in the series. But right now, still have the Nuggets winning the opening series. We still have no array of, where DeAndre Hopkins is going to go when he's been targeted to play for a lot of playoff contending teams, i.e. the Cleveland Browns, possibly the New York Giants, the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens. Over still a 2-year extension over his contract and still 30 years of age. He's still a highly productive, heightened receiver that doesn't have much of an injury history under his belt. So, Hopkins anywhere like Dallas would be a major thing, knowing they lost Amari Cooper around the offseason. So that could be a massive, upswing to just heighten over that offensive production. If it was only 2 seasons prior, Rams could have been in that conversation if it wasn't for that collapse that happened that had them trying to score Baker Mayfield to get them out of their slump after Stafford got hurt. So still scoring an all-pro like DeAndre Hopkins will possibly not get further news until he finally makes his decision. So keep your eyes on that. That is still major news. Right now, we're going to close up right now for episode 1 here of the Sideline Production Podcast. We'll possibly try to get more guests or make this live, but right now, just want to get some opening thoughts what's going on over in the sports world. Very excited to try to add more content here like I do over on the DST show. That will still be going on live for regular scheduled content, possibly more entertainment or, wrestling that you guys probably know me for. This will be primarily for sports. So I want to try to put more eggs in the basket and see what would lay. And I feel like it's a more thing to just spread over than just put it on one channel where it's possibly not going to grow as much as I want. Hopefully you guys subscribe so we can actually get to that idea. Like, comment, subscribe if you actually like what was going on in this podcast. That's it for me in the DST show. In the Sidelines Productions. That's it for me.